with at least 80 people here today. The route starts at 10:30. The nice gravel track ends at this point, and here it needs turning left off of this bend down into the bed of the Branco. We follow a riverbed for an hour or more at this point. It's beginning to get a little rougher. In about half an hour we should be out of this bushwhacking section of the route and onto a tarmac road, although hopefully we'll be just to the left of that on our way down to Granadella. At last, Max has allowed us to have a short break of a few minutes before our nice wander down to Granadella. And at last, Granadella comes into view. The middle part of this route down at Granadella is most civilised, with a restaurant and a bar.
Bad weather.
It's not the swimming that's the problem, it's changing your knickers.
No problem? No.
Gladys is just enjoying a nice paddle.
This is much harder than mountain walking.
It's from this direction that we approach Granadella, or gently downhill. But our departure from Granadella takes us up behind the houses on the cliffs, and it follows a cliff path which threads across the hump up there. Time to depart from the beach, and now the hard work starts. We've had it too easy up to now. After leaving the small harbour and hamlet of Granadella, the road climbs steeply up through the pine woods, eventually finishing and breaking off onto a very small track. This is the section that we referred to as the Smuggler's Path. Perhaps it was a fisherman's. We don't know, but it's interesting. All around from our cliff path we have views, and some marvellous coastal views they are too. We're now now at one of the steeper bits dropping down into the first barranco, where there's a safety rope on the side which is totally rotten. There are plenty of problems at this point, although Max and the first ones have already broken the back of this barranco and are now traversing back seaward on the opposite side. At this point we have a wire handhold. The track now doubles back on itself a little, down to what used to be a lookout point, probably looking out for English pirates. However, we're not going quite to the lookout. It looks as if we're turning right to take an interesting line under a low cliff with some caves. There is a short diversion at this point to go and look at the caves, and then a short rock scramble to rejoin the others before heading up towards the rocky ridge. Don't know what these shallow caves were used for. By the salt cellar up there. They're used for some purpose by somebody. There are also a number of religious looking candles in ledges up in the caves.
I was cold, delayed.
As usual, we have Ted up above us, just to lend a helping hand where it's required. After the caves, we have a really rough slope with plenty of vegetation to gain the crest of the ridge, where it still doesn't get any easier. In fact, it gets harder again. At this point, we're just about on the crest of the ridge and really in the thick of the vegetation. Once again, Max is allowing us to have a few-minute break for a drop of water or lemonade. Those that had beer down in the restaurant are now paying the penalty for it. Well, I think Ted is about to show us something daring. look back along the ridge that we've just been following, there in the distance, closing up on it now, is the ledge we had to step round. Not everyone liked it. Another small break and a viewpoint. After the ridge came the woods, and at the end of the woods we come out into the open. What remains now is to step down onto a nice large gravel track and follow it back to the urbanisation Cumbre del Sol. It then goes uphill again to the cast. We have now only about 100 yards of this gravel track to go before we reach tarmac. On reaching the tarmac, we head gently uphill through the urbanisations until we reach the last building, which is where our cars are parked. Civilization at last. 2 minutes from the car and 5 minutes to the bar. It can't be bad. And heaven, at the end of a nice long day, is a bar.